second paragraph, not the last paragraph. Higher prices are inevitable because the world's black tea producers are struggling to meet rising demand. So it actually implies here that it's likely to be inelastic. India and Sri Lanka have no extra land, so actually there isn't any spare capacity, and they are India is at least the biggest and Sri Lanka is the second biggest. So in terms of evaluation, you can evaluate and make a judgment to say that they are the two biggest. So in terms of size, they would have the most impact on whether or not tea production is elastic or inelastic. It says here that you need a large amount of specific land, but it's difficult to find, so it's unlikely. But it says some land is available in Rwanda and Vietnam, but this takes time to develop. Tea bushes can only be harvested 6 years after they are planted. So you can say that in the short term, tea is highly likely to be inelastic. But in the longer term, after 6 years, then it might become elastic again because there'll be new land developed in those countries that could produce tea. Okay, and just one last key thing for that question is to say the world supply. So if you just mention one country, you're not accurately answering the question. The last question says, with reference to extract 2, evaluate the possible private benefits and external benefits from consumer switching from coffee to tea. Illustrate your answer with an appropriate diagram. So evaluate, we know it's going to be a two-sided question. Private benefits and external benefits, so we know it's talking about positive externalities here. And it does say answer with an appropriate diagram. So the appropriate diagram here is going to be a positive externality. But with an evaluation question, we might be looking for whether or not this is truly a positive externality. So if we quickly look at extract 2, drinking at least 3 cups of black tea may lower an individual's risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes, according to new research. So there we've got the private benefits. If you consume tea, you get benefits to yourself. Black tea contains antioxidants, which protect the heart and blood vessels, reducing high pressure, so the health benefits, leading to greater productivity in the workplace. So now we have the external benefit because it not just benefits the individual's health, but it benefits businesses who are the third party. A cup of tea contains half the level of caffeine, which is harmful in large quantities when compared to a cup of coffee. So actually, caffeine itself, even though it's just halved in tea, it's still harmful. So there is a benefit of drinking tea, but there's also a cost, and even though it's less than coffee, there's still a cost there. However, the researchers noticed that the precise mechanisms in determining the health benefits remain unclear and further investigations needed. So actually there's an argument against the accuracy of this, or is this actual information failure because there's an uncertainty there. So coming back to the question, with reference to extract 2, evaluate the possible private benefits and external benefits resulting from consumer switching from coffee to tea. Illustrate your answer. So we need a positive externality to represent the tea. So under consumed, so quantity, free market, quantity, socio-optimum, the definition, which would be your K mark, marginal social benefits greater than marginal private benefits, marginal social benefits greater than marginal private benefits, MSC equals MPC. Let's shade in our welfare gain, pointing to the positive, our welfare loss and potential welfare gain. Access, costs and benefits, and output or quantity. We've got our application, so we mentioned that the private benefits were health to the individual, the external benefits were productivity and therefore profits to a business. In terms of why it might not, So you've got just an application as well in here somewhere that if people, it's from the drinking of the tea, and maybe the antioxidants if you want to be specific. But there is still caffeine, which creates private costs, so it's harmful to the health. So you could, if you wanted to do the opposite side, is that there may be a negative externality in terms of the cost to the individual. Social cost is greater than private cost, and potentially a cost to the rest of the economy if it affects people's health. Now, the link there would be potentially if you currently drunk 5 cups of coffee and then you started drinking tea and you drink 15 cups of tea, effectively you're drinking more caffeine than you did beforehand because it's half the level. So it then becomes an it depends upon point of how much tea you drink. So a small amount of tea, the benefits will outweigh the costs, but a large amount of tea, the costs will likely outweigh the benefits. And then the other way you can evaluate that question is to that last paragraph there, which was about the uncertainties. There's maybe information failures here. Potentially the benefits might not be as great as we think because there's still investigating or determining what those health benefits are.